Well, this should be fun. What's up, sports fans? Welcome back to Takes from the Couch. I'm your host, Josh Fry, and today we're back. We're talking the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Last week, got to say, wild card weekend, super wild card weekend. Went pretty good for me in terms of my guesses and for my wallet, if you know what I mean, if you catch my drift at all. Went 5 for 6 on picks. Only one I missed was a big one, admittedly. The Pats getting blown out by the Bills. Did not see that one coming. But hopefully we keep our hot streak alive going into the divisional round. We got 4 games this week. Hopefully we go 4 for 4. But yeah, let's hop into it. But first, I know the background's a little different this time. Might have thrown you off. Had a little bit of a mishap with some command strips with my Brewers stuff. So decided, you know what? Might as well move my good old Bucks poster over. It's not baseball season right now. It's basketball season. So might as well give the Bucks some love. Maybe they'll do a little bit better now that I've got this background up instead. So we'll see if they go on a 10-game winning streak here in the next couple weeks. You know why. So, but anyway, you're not here for the background. Let's get into some picks. All right, starting off the divisional weekend, we've got the Bengals taking on the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Let me just say, again, before we get into these actual picks, these games are hard, man. There's no real gimmies here. I mean, last week I had maybe half a page of notes. This week I've got an entire couple pages worth of stuff written down here. There's a lot of stuff going into these games. I mean, obviously it makes sense as you get further and further down the line. It's going to be a lot harder to pick these games, but this is definitely it looks like a much better slate right off the bat than last week. So hopefully, again, we get some games that aren't just straight blowouts the entire time. But yeah, Bengals Titans looks like a good way to start off the weekend. Derrick Henry said he's expected to play. He wouldn't say how much he's actually going to play on Saturday afternoon. But I mean, if he was 100% or if he was 50%, I'd expect him to say the exact same thing. You wouldn't want to give Cincinnati any sort of edge as to expect how many snaps he's going to play or how many touches he's going to get. So not really anything to go off of there, I don't think. I feel like he's gotten some time to rest. It seems like things are going really well for him in his rehab. Otherwise, I mean, Tennessee wouldn't be risking him and his future if they didn't think he was ready to go for this game, I don't think. If he's rested, ready to go full health, that's a scary guy to have 2 months off and be ready to go full steam against a Cincinnati defense that played a lot of meaningful snaps in the last couple weeks. I mean, just last week alone, they had to do a goal line stand in the fourth quarter at the end of the game. It had a lot of pressure-filled snaps. But as for Cincinnati side of things, it looks like they're also getting healthy at the right time here. Trey Hendrickson had a little bit of a scare going into concussion protocol after last week's game against Las Vegas. But it seems like he's on track to play, should be ready to go. So that's great news for the Bengals. But honestly, I think this game really favors the Tennessee Titans. I mean, this is just a team that even when they're going up against what should be superior talent, they find a way to come out on top on the scoreboard. Look at the last couple playoff runs. They've beaten Buffalo. They've beaten Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. Yeah, this is just a team that grits it out and finds a way to win games. And then Cincinnati, they're going to have a rough time with Derrick Henry, I think, if he's ready to go. Since he gave up over 100 yards rushing in 4 of the last 5 weeks of the regular season, they did it again against Las Vegas, and it almost cost him that game. And then you just get down to it. Mike Vrabel's better coach than Zach Taylor is. That's just all there really is to it. I think the Titans control the time of possession in this one, keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands as much as possible in that explosive offense. Tennessee comes out on top. All right, and then heading up north, we got the Niners taking on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field Saturday night. Should be really cold temperatures for that one. I'm in Minnesota right now, and if they are getting any sort of weather this weekend like what we've got here right now, today I think the high was -5. So yeah, it should be pretty cold for that one. Let's just say that. But Niners, they're looking a little banged up right now. Fred Warner's got that ankle sprain that he got last week. Jimmy Garoppolo's got a few things going on, including a thumb injury. Nick Bosa had his concussion protocol going on. And then the Packers, their defense, they're getting healthy. They got Zadarius Smith coming back at that outside linebacker position. Jair Alexander, they both could play this week. Could be really big returns for that defense after missing them for a long time. Randall Cobb will probably play in this game as well, but it looks like Marquez Valdes-Scantling is doubtful to play. That not great for the Green Bay wide receiver core there. Honestly, my pick for this game might surprise you a little bit. I just getting down to it, I was looking at the numbers, I was doing my research, doing my due diligence, and post-bye, Packers defense, not great. Just really not good. I know Smith and Alexander will probably help a little bit with that, but are they going to be the difference makers that we think they can be? I'm not certain about that, but just against the run over the past few weeks since their bye, you look at some games, 137 yards rushing to Chicago, 143 yards rushing to Baltimore, 219 yards rushing to Cleveland. I mean, those games were all wins, but they were games that were a lot closer than they should have been against subpar opponents. I mean, Tyler Huntley was playing quarterback for Baltimore. You got Baker Mayfield with all his injuries over in Cleveland, and then Justin Fields in Chicago. I mean, this isn't like these are top-tier offenses that they were going up against, and they were still struggling to hold them down. The Niners are kind of just beat to built Green Bay right now. I mean, they have been for the past couple years. Again, rematch of the 2019 NFC Championship game. The Niners, they controlled the time of possession. They ran the ball really well against this Green Bay defense, and Kyle Shanahan just kind of has Matt LaFleur's number. I think the formula for this game is just going to be get the ball in Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel's hands as much as possible and just let them do their thing and run out the clock. I mean, again, this Green Bay defense hasn't proven that it can stop the run at all over the past month and a half. And the best formula to beat Aaron Rodgers is to just not let him have the ball. So I think the Niners are going to go into Lambeau. They're going to do that really well in that cold weather, frigid temperatures, and they are going to go in and upset the Green Bay Packers once again. All right, and then headed back down south. Game for Sunday afternoon should be a lot warmer than in Green Bay. We got the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. LA looked really impressive in that win against Arizona. It was, Saturday night? No, Monday night. Okay, yeah. Got my days confused here. But yeah, Monday night. LA looked really good. Cam Akers' comeback was a huge surprise for me. It's another element to that offense that just you don't expect to be there on a week-to-week basis, but it is now. And yeah, this is a team in LA that went 7-2 on the road in the regular season. They beat Tampa Bay already, so we've got that on their belt. Andrew Whitworth could be out at left tackle. That could be pretty big for them, but there's also the question in Tampa Bay of Tristan Wirfs being out. His backup's also injured as well. And then Leonard Fournette still hasn't been cleared for this game either. So Tampa Bay's got its own injury issues going on. Obviously, you're scared of that trio of Vita Vea, Devin White, Levante David for Tampa Bay. But honestly, I feel like especially if Wirfs is out, the trio of Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Jalen Ramsey could be just as terrifying for LA. So it feels like it kind of evens out. I think this is going to be a defensive struggle of a game. Obviously, the first matchup between these two teams was in week 3, so a lot has changed since then. That was back still when the LA Rams could not be stopped through the air. It's definitely slowed down a bit in the second half of the season. But again, this is playoff football. Game's going to slow down a lot. And Tristan Wirfs being out, that could be a huge deal for Tampa Bay because the LA's recipe to winning that last game was really being able to get pressure on Tom Brady. They pressured him 11 times. They sent 13 blitzes. They sacked him 3 times. Aaron Donald had a great game in that one. If they can do that again this week, I think they don't have a problem. And at the end of the day, if Leonard Fournette does not get cleared, I think Sony Michel, Cam Akers are a better running back duo than Ronald Jones and Giovanni Bernard. Again, playoff football, especially in these later matchups. The game's going to slow down. The defense is going to be physical. You have to be able to run the ball, and I think LA can do that just a little bit better than Tampa Bay. I'm taking the LA Rams to go in. Another upset. They're going to go into Tampa Bay, and they're going to knock off the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. And then you got what could end up being the game of the year on Sunday night. Buffalo Bills taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Another playoff rematch from last year. You got that famous picture of Stephon Diggs watching the Kansas City Chiefs celebrate from the sidelines. And honestly, Buffalo, it definitely seems like that loss last year carried with them into the offseason. They built their team this year around being able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and they now get the opportunity to prove that they've done that. You look at the draft, picking 2 pass rushers very early on, strengthening that defense, the secondary. That defensive unit has quietly been, honestly, one of the very best in the NFL. You look at the stats here, they got 4.6 yards per play allowed, best in the NFL, 30 takeaways, among the top 5 in the NFL, better expected points contributed per Pro Football Reference than the New Orleans Saints, which was honestly one of the historically great defenses this year. And then they had the highest pressure rate of any defense in the NFL too. This team can dominate all 3 levels of the defense, and I think this is a really intriguing matchup for them to be able to just go into Arrowhead and completely shut down that Kansas City offense. And this is this is a game that was already played earlier this year, and Buffalo dominated that one too. They won 38-20. Again, it was early in the year. Chiefs were still in that early season funk that they were in, bit of a Super Bowl hangover from that loss last year. But Josh Allen was terrific in it. They forced Patrick Mahomes into some tough throws, and if they can get some pressure on him again, they could do the exact same thing. Again, I'm going upset. It's upset weekend for me. I am picking the Buffalo Bills to knock off the Kansas City Chiefs and head to the AFC Championship game. And there you have it. There's my divisional round picks for this weekend's games. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did I do it right? Am I going to be wrong? Am I going to lose money this week? But yeah, that's it. Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Again, check out my written work, Vikings Territory, Purple PTSD. Got a bunch of stuff going on over there this week, heading into the weekend. But yeah, till next time, I'll see y'all later.